the effort of the defund police movement lost an audience because of that that slogan, I guess is what he's calling it, which I don't look at it as a slogan. It's an actual real political goal.
The crime has dropped since 2024. Do you feel like the city feels safer?
No, not at all. No, especially with the police being defunded.
As we know, the Democrats are on the wrong side of pretty much every single issue. And of course, one of their big faux pas over the last several years was the defund the police movement, right? We have this great idea. Let's get rid of cops. Let's put in community peacekeepers. Let's put in counselors and see what happens. And we did. California and New York have turned into revolving doors for criminals, okay? But what's the line from the left right now? Oh, crime is actually going down. You're just too dumb to recognize it. And even CNN was very surprised when they picked a random lady on the street and said, do you feel safe? No, Chicago is not safe right now. So we're going to see today, of course, is Brandon Johnson making the case for, I don't want any more police in my city because for some reason that's wrong. And it's going to be pointed out by no other than Joe Scarborough of all people. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment so we can break the algorithms. Here we go.
This president and the federal government has literally declared war on poor people. I remember a time when presidents declared war on poverty. The federal government has a moral responsibility to do unto the least of these. And that's what we're doing in the city of Chicago.
So let me ask you, Mr. Mayor, those all sound like great programs. I'm curious, would you also like to get federal funding to help put 5,000 more cops on the street in Chicago? Would that help drive down crime?
Well, look, policing by itself is not the full strategy.
No, I understand that. You've talked about the other things you want, and I said those are good and important programs, but I'm asking also, would 5,000 more police officers on the street in Chicago be helpful to go along with all of those social programs that a lot of cities are engaging in and having success with?
Well, look, here's the best way I can put it, Joe, is that in the 90s when I was in high school, we had 3,000 more police officers and we had 900 people being murdered every single year in Chicago. It's just not policing alone. Of course, we want more detectives.
I know it's not policing alone, but I know it's not policing alone. You've told me everything else you want. I'm curious, and this does come down to an ideological difference between people. Do you believe that the streets of Chicago would be safer if there were more uniformed police officers on the streets of Chicago?
I believe the city of Chicago and cities across America would be safer if we actually had, affordable housing. Look,
okay,
I'm not saying that
that's not the question I asked. My question is, and I just need a yes or a no, do you believe the streets of Chicago would be safer if you got all of those other extraordinary programs put back into place, which do have a history of being successful, if that's complemented by having 5,000 more cops on the streets of Chicago?
I don't believe that we should narrow it down to just police officers, Joe, is what I'm saying. That is an antiquated approach. I'm saying we've invested in detectives.
Mr. Mayor, are you hearing what I'm saying? I'm agreeing with you that all of these other social programs are extraordinarily important. I just need a yes or a no, and then this will be the last time I ask. If you get all of those other social programs that 800 million that New York City does, Los Angeles, other people do with great success, would an additional 5,000 cops on the streets in Chicago help complement those programs to make Chicago safer?
Look, we are working hard to make sure that our police department is fully supported. I don't believe that just simply putting out an arbitrary number around police officers is the answer. What I'm saying is policing and affordable housing. It's policing and mental and behavioral health care services. It's policing and youth employment. It's a full package. Of course, we want to make sure that our police department is fully supported. That's why I've invested in our Detectives Bureau, because what we have seen in the city of Chicago, when we saw solve crime, it acts and serves as a deterrent. It's policing and all of the other efforts that we're doing. Here's the last thing that I'll say to that. The federal government could work stronger to coordinate with my police department to get guns off the streets of Chicago. We've seen these coordination efforts work. Just a couple of weeks ago, the ATF working with my police department, we removed over 150 guns off the streets of Chicago that were trafficked in through Mississippi and Indiana. No one is saying that police officers don't play an incredible role in driving safety. They play an absolute pivotal role in that. But we have asked law enforcement to do too much. Police officers are being asked to be social workers, counselors. What I'm simply saying is, if we're going to build safe and affordable cities across America, the one thing that safe communities all have in common, they invest in people. We have a poverty issue in the city of Chicago and cities across America. Police officers alone will not put food on the table. Police officers alone will not guarantee a high quality education. Police officers alone won't drive down unemployment.
That's about enough of that, right? It is really easy to see why Brandon Johnson only has a 26% approval rating as mayor in Chicago, right? All those poor Chicagoans thought there's no way we could do worse than Lori Lightfoot. Let's go ahead and vote for another Democrat, and look at what they got. He can't answer a simple question. More cops on the streets, 5,000. Okay, do you want them? We got to look at all these other programs first. Do you want 5,000 cops to fight crime? We have to have this integration of housing and public and blah, 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 blah. Do you want more cops or not? All right. He refuses to answer. And the only good point he actually made is that, yes, you're right. Cops are not social workers. They're not psychologists. But who asked them to be that? Okay. This new idea of reforming police. What did that actually have? What did that actually entail? Oh, police officers are just going to intervene. They're not actually going to go out there and stop crime, right? That was the new idea from the crazy wacko leftists like Brandon Johnson. And all of this, of course, stems from the simple idea that Donald Trump has had great success in cleaning up D.C., and now he's saying, oh, I should probably go into Chicago, etc., which, by the way, is not something I think he can pull off just from a legal standpoint. But it's fun to actually mention that just to get people like this riled up, because he knows his city faces some problems, all right? And by the way, why do all these problems exist? He talks about housing issues. He talks about homeless issues. He talks about poverty. Who has been in charge of Chicago for the last 50 plus years? Who has turned it into its current state? And the answer, of course, is the Democrats. They have done this to themselves. And as I mentioned, Lori Lightfoot, right? She was awful. Nobody liked her. And then who did they replace her with? Brandon Johnson, someone even further to the left than she was. And it was hilarious to see even Joe Scarborough getting fed up with his bullcrap. I'm going to ask you again. I'm going to ask you a third time. I'm going to ask you, please give me a yes or no. How do you feel about more police on the streets? Okay. And of course, Brandon Johnson, his whole worldview is that cops are bad. All right, because if he didn't think that, he'd say, of course we want some more, as opposed to simply saying, I'm going to make sure we're fully funded, which, don't get me wrong, is a good thing. But if you need more cops, then you should try to get more cops. All right. And this, of course, is the big divide between the Democrats and the Republicans. Okay. Believe it or not, public safety is a big national issue. And places like these blue cities of Chicago are failing. And with the leadership of people like Brandon Johnson, it's no mystery as to why. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and say hi to your mom for me. Do you like t-shirts? Of course you do. And now you can support the channel by buying an Angry Teacher t-shirt designed by me, Angry Teacher. So if you like America, if you like freedom, if you like liberty, then go ahead and click the link in the description, where all designs, of course, are 100% mother approved. So enjoy yourself and find something you like today. Bye, honey. Love you. Drive safe.